Welcome to AI Chain Reaction, the podcast where we unpack the incredible world of artificial intelligence and automation. Each week, we're diving deep into the tech that's reshaping our lives, our businesses, and our future. From groundbreaking innovations and the latest industry news to practical strategies on how you can leverage AI automation for growth. We're covering it all. We'll be joined by leading experts, innovators, and thought leaders who are at the forefront of this digital revolution. Are you ready to explore how one small change can set off a massive chain reaction of progress? Then you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome back to AI Chain Reaction again. I'm here with my co-hosts, Nick and Jordan. Today, we're diving into From Pilot to Scale, lessons from early AI adopters in logistics. The big question is, what do successful companies do differently when scaling AI from proof of concept, pilot, to full production? Nick?
Hey everyone, great to be here. This topic is crucial because so many companies play around with AI in a pilot, but then it never makes it to prime time. I've seen stats that over 70% of AI projects fail to move from pilot to production, meaning only maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 pilots actually become a scaled working solution in real time.
Right. And one report said only about 31% of businesses have successfully scaled AI to production. That's a shockingly low number considering how many are experimenting with AI these days. So clearly, there's a gap between experimenting with AI and actually reaping the benefits at scale.
Exactly. Yeah. This is crucial. Companies are going to want to start seeing ROI on these projects, especially as the projects grow in size and scale. They're going to have to become more successful. So in this episode, we're going to explore why that gap exists and how we can bridge it. We'll talk about common barriers that stop AI pilots from scaling, things like poor data quality, resistance to change, and aligning cost with value. We'll also share some success stories from mid-market logistics players, not just the big tech giants. Discuss a simple framework for scaling AI from pilot to production to continuous learning, and highlight 3 key metrics to prove AI's value in logistics.
Sounds like a plan. So maybe let's start with those common barriers. Why do so many promising AI pilots never make it to production in logistics?
Great starting point, Nick. You've been hands-on with AI projects. What do you see as the number one barrier to scaling a pilot?
Honestly, data quality is the big one. In logistics especially, data can be messy, spread across different systems, filled with errors or gaps. An AI pilot might work with a clean sample of data, but when you try to scale it and feed it real, live data from all over the operation, things break. In fact, one study found up to 85% of failed AI projects cited poor data quality or availability as a main problem. If your data is garbage, your AI results will be garbage. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's true. You hear the phrase garbage in, garbage out a million times, and that really kind of hits here. Another huge barrier is change resistance, though. The people side of things. You can have the best AI model, but the folks in the warehouse or on the dispatch office don't trust it or don't want to change the daily routines, it won't get used. There's often fear like, is this AI going to make me look bad? Or is it going to take my job? And without good change management and training, employees tend to revert to their old comfortable processes once the pilot hype here is over.
Right, and that ties into culture. If leadership and teams aren't convinced, they'll find ways, consciously or not, to sideline the AI solution. Early adopters who succeed usually invest in educating and involving people, not just throwing tech over the wall.
Absolutely. And a third barrier I wanted to highlight too is the cost and ROI alignment. A pilot is often done on a small scale, maybe using sample data or a test environment, so it's relatively cheap and quick to put together. But scaling that pilot to a full production system can get expensive. You suddenly need robust IT infrastructures, integration with multiple systems, data storage, maintenance, maybe new hires or consultants. I've even seen cases where pilots succeed technically, but when the team tallies up what it would cost to deploy it company-wide, the budget holders get cold feet. One report put it bluntly, while a pilot may be cheap and quick, scaling AI for production is expensive, often much more than these companies expect. If the business value isn't clear and the costs balloon, the project might never really get greenlit for production.
And sometimes it's not just cost itself, but how cost aligns with benefits. If an AI pilot showed some promise but didn't clearly move the needle on key metrics, executives might say, why spend millions on this? It's unclear ROI. What are we trying to say here? It's unclear ROI that can kill.
Yeah, it's unclear ROI that can kill a project as much as outright cost. So if it's not clear what the benefit's going to be,
Gotcha. Okay.
project gets whacked.
Okay, next, starting from here, it's unclear ROI that can kill a project as much as outright cost.
Exactly. To sum up the usual suspects, crummy data, resistant culture, and cost or ROI doubts. These are the big three barriers. And it's not just us saying this. Industry research backs it up.
Yeah, Gartner.
Gartner, for example, predicted that about 30% of AI pilots in 2025 will be abandoned at pilot stage due to issues like poor data quality, rising costs, or unclear value. So if you're facing these hurdles, you're not alone.
Well, the good news is some companies do crack that code and overcome these barriers. So let's switch to success stories, particularly in logistics. And not just the Fortune 500 companies. What are we seeing among early adopters, maybe even mid market logistics firms that manage to scale AI successfully?
Great point. We always hear about the Amazons and DHLs of the world, but there are smaller players doing cool things with AI at scale too. First, though, a quick nod to the big guys for inspiration. Companies like DHL and FedEx use AI to optimize route planning and fleet management, achieving fuel savings and reducing delivery delays. That's huge in logistics. Less fuel and fewer late deliveries means big savings and happier customers. If they can do it, it shows what's possible.
True. Now for the mid-size market examples, these are my favorite because they show you don't need $1 billion budget to get results. For instance, I know of a mid-size logistics provider that implemented an AI-driven inventory management system. They used it to predict stock levels and optimize warehouse operations. And the result? They reduced their inventory carrying costs by 30% while still maintaining service quality. 30% cost reduction on inventory is massive for a mid-market firm. That's money straight to the bottom line.
That's a great example. I heard about a regional trucking fleet, not a huge company, maybe a few hundred trucks, that rolled out an AI-based predictive maintenance program. By analyzing engine telemetry and maintenance logs, the AI could forecast when a truck was likely to break down and alert them to service it beforehand. They ended up cutting unexpected breakdowns by 25%. Think about that. 1/4 fewer breakdowns. That means fewer service disruptions, fewer expensive roadside repairs, and more on-time deliveries. For a trucking company, that's a game changer.
Thanks, guys. These success stories have a few things in common. One is choosing the right use case, something high impact. Inventory costs and fleet downtime are perfect targets. Another common thread is that these companies were pretty agile in their execution. Mid-market companies can actually have an edge here. They're less bogged down by the bureaucracy of the large companies, so they can move from concept to implementation faster. I read that mid-market firms often can implement new tech in weeks instead of months because they have less red tape and they focus on the practical problems and just go for it.
And let's not forget about partnerships or outside help. Some early adopters in that mid-tier partner with AI vendors or consultants to co-create solutions. They don't wait for a perfect off-the-shelf product. They say, here's our problem, let's tailor an AI solution for it. That co-creation approach means the solution is built with their context in mind. One mid-market CEO told me they succeeded because they didn't treat AI as a plug-and-play magic. They put it in the effort to clean their data, tweak the model, and involve the operations team throughout the process.
So, successful leaves clues. Pick a valuable problem, stay agile, get your data and people act together, and iterate quickly. The early adopters who scaled AI did these things. They also celebrated early wins, like, I'm sure when the inventory AI saved 30% costs, they loudly shared that internally, which builds momentum and buy-in for further scaling.
Makes a lot of sense. So now let's say a logistics company has done a pilot, they see the potential. How do they actually approach scaling it? Let's outline a simple framework or a playbook from pilot to production and beyond. Jordan, you want to start with the pilot phase?
Sure. Phase 1 pilot. The idea here is to start small but think big. You focus on high impact, low risk use case first. By high impact, we mean something that could deliver real value, like cost savings or service improvement, if it works. Low risk means if it fails, it won't sink the business or cost a fortune. You run a pilot project to tackle a specific pain point, say optimizing delivery routes in one region or automating one step in the warehouse. The goal in this phase is to prove the value in a controlled setting and learn what it takes to make it work. And importantly, start getting user feedback early. When people who will use the system are involved from the pilot stage, they're more invested.
Exactly. You want to demonstrate some quick wins and also flesh out requirements for scaling. Now comes phase two, production and scaling. This is where you build the foundation to take the AI solution company wide. A few keys here. One, data infrastructure. Invest in good data pipelines, integration, and governance so that your AI model has reliable, high quality data at scale, not just the pristine pilot data set. Two, consider implementing ML ops. That's short for machine learning operations. Basically, the tools and processes to deploy, monitor, and maintain your models in production. You need to make sure your model continues to perform well when it's running 24/7 in the real world. ML ops will help you automate model retraining, monitor accuracy, and manage versions as your data evolves. Without it, a model can degrade over time and nobody notices until things go off the rails.
Good points. I like to add integration process change as well. When scaling to production, you have to embed the AI into existing workflows. That might mean integrating your transportation management system, your warehouse management software, etc. So the AI outputs actually feed into what people are doing day to day. And likely means updating some of the business processes. Maybe dispatchers start their day looking at AI generated route plans instead of manually looking for routes, for example. This is where the people side resurfaces. You need training programs, maybe new roles like a data analyst in ops, and definitely strong communication from the leadership that this is a new way of doing things. Essentially, change management is part of the scaling phase. You're not just installing software, you're changing how the work gets done.
And let's call the ongoing phase three, continuous learning. Scaling isn't a one and done flip of a switch. The companies that really get value treat the AI solution as a living system that needs care and feeding. After the AI is in production, you continuously monitor its performance. And questions like, are delivery ETA still accurate? Has the model precision drifted as customer behavior changed or as you entered a new market? You set up metrics and dashboards to keep an eye on all of that. Then you retrain or refine the model as needed. Maybe schedule retraining every month with fresh data, or even automatic reframing if it's appropriate. Also, gather user feedback continuously. Maybe drivers say the route AI doesn't consider a certain local traffic quirk. That's input for improvement. The continuous improvement loop is crucial. The companies that scale successfully always say never treat AI as set and forget.
Okay. And that loop often leads to new use cases too. Once you have one AI solution running well, you can expand on it or tackle another problem. Maybe your route optimization AI is stable. Next, you add an AI for demand forecasting, and that feeds into route planning. Over time, you build an integrated AI driven operation step by step. But it starts with that solid foundation and mindset. AI is a journey, not a single project.
So true. I love that. It's a journey. So we've covered the barriers and how to overcome them. We've looked at how to scale in phases. Now let's talk about proving the value of a scaled AI. Suppose we've deployed an AI solution in our logistics operation. What are the key metrics that demonstrate it's actually delivering that value we promised?
I'll take the first one, cost savings. Logistics is often a game of thin margins, so cost metrics speak loud and clear. You want to measure things like cost per shipment or operational costs as a percentage of revenue, things that show efficiency. If your AI is doing its job, you should see the costs come down. For example, we mentioned earlier a global logistics provider that adopted AI across their supply chain and reduced operational costs by 15 to 20%. That kind of metric will definitely get your CFO's attention. Even if you don't hit 20%, any noticeable drop in cost per unit shipped is a big win directly attributable to the AI initiative.
Second metric bucket is service or performance. A great one here is on-time delivery rate and its cousin, delivery speed. If AI is helping with route optimization, demand planning, or risk management, you should be delivering shipments more reliably and maybe faster. So you track percentage of deliveries on time or average transit delivery time. Improvement in those means your customers are getting their stuff when they expect it or sooner. We've seen that AI route optimization planning. Restart. We see that with AI route planning and tracking, for example, FedEx and DHL using AI-led to reduce delivery delays. Now, if you implement similar AI, you might report, say, our on-time delivery went from 85 to 92% thanks to the new AI system. That's a powerful proof point. It directly translates to better customer service as well.
Very nice. That brings us to the third metric, customer satisfaction. Ultimately, in logistics, if you cut costs and improve customer service, your customers, whether they're consumers or B2B, will be happier. But it's worth measuring that explicitly. That could be through customer satisfaction scores, NPS, or even customer retention rates for your logistics business. One early adopter found that reducing stockouts by 40% with AI not only saved money, it also improved customer satisfaction because clients weren't facing back orders. It's a big part of the business. In freight or delivery context, you might measure things like the number of customer complaints about late shipments before versus after AI. If a complaint drops, or if your customer satisfaction surveys show an uptick, that's a clear indicator of value. So these are the big three: cost, service, customer satisfaction, and they often move together.
There are other metrics depending on the use case, like inventory turnover if it's a warehousing AI, or forecasting accuracy if it's a demand planning AI. But honestly, they usually tie back to cost, speed, or quality of service in some way. The key is define measurable KPIs before you scale the AI so you can track them. It's so much easier to defend an AI project when you can point to hard numbers like this saved X dollars or Y% improvement in delivery time.
Right. And sharing those wins helps keep everyone on board. It builds a virtuous cycle. Metrics improve, leadership gets excited, they invest more, your team feels proud, and the AI adoption deepens.
Fantastic. This has really been a great discussion, from the pitfalls to the successes and how we make actually AI stick in the logistics world. Before we wrap up, let's summarize a few key takeaways for our listeners.
First takeaway, get your data and infrastructure in order. Scaling AI will magnify any data issues you have. So invest early in data quality, integration, and the right tools, like ML Ops for model deployment. It's the foundation for everything.
And second, don't underestimate the human factor. Change management is not optional. Involve the end users early, provide training, and create champions for the AI team. Restart. And create champions for the AI within the team. When people understand the tool and trust it, adoption soars.
Third, let's align the projects with the business value and measure it. Pick use cases that solve real business problems and define clear metrics like cost, on-time delivery, etc., to track the success. Not only proving the ROI to get leadership buy-in, but it also keeps the AI project focused on delivering tangible results.
And I'd like to sneak in a fourth. Iterate and improve. Scaling AI isn't a one-time project. Treat it as an ongoing capability, continuously learning from data and feedback, and keep enhancing the system. That's how you stay ahead.
Well said, well said. Small changes make big impacts. So let's go ahead, and with these points in mind, we've got a clear path on moving forward from an AI pilot to a scaled AI solution. We know it's going to be challenging, but it's absolutely doable with the right approach.
And early adopters in logistics are showing it's possible, even without endless resources, by being smart about how they pilot and scale, and by focusing on value.
That wraps up today's episode on scaling AI in logistics. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've enjoyed this discussion again, please subscribe to AI Chain Reaction and share this episode with others who might find it useful. We love hearing from you. And if you have any questions or success story of your own, reach out to us on LinkedIn or our website. Look forward to hearing from you.
We are always eager to hear how AI is making a difference in your supply chain or logistics operations.
Absolutely. And don't forget to tune in next time. We've got more insights on AI and supply chain coming up.
Till then, thanks for listening and stay curious about AI. Bye, everyone.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of AI Chain Reaction. Thank you so much for tuning in and exploring the incredible world of AI and automation with us. We hope today's discussion sparked some new ideas and gave you valuable insights into how these technologies are shaping our future. Don't let the conversation stop here. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. For more resources and to learn how AI automation can transform your business, visit us at wintersAIsolutions.com. Thanks again for being part of our community. Until next time, keep innovating and stay curious.